the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we are going to catch you up to speed on the latest news and rumors around your Seattle Seahawks at the NFL Draft Combine in Indianapolis, as we have a new mock draft from ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., as he is projecting a certain offensive lineman from Alabama to end up in Seattle. We'll tell you who that is, break it down. Also, we're going to talk about a new rumor involving Taysom Hill potentially ending up in Seattle. We'll discuss that coming up later on in the show. Also, we have the latest on Geno Smith and his ongoing contract negotiations. We got an update from John Schneider that we'll get to, and he'll lay out his three-step QB plan for Seattle going forward from here. We'll tell you what that is and where things stand with Geno coming up. We'll also do Q&A Rumors Mailbag. It is Wednesday, so that means it is a mailbag day. Start getting in your questions in now using hashtag Seahawks or Super Chatting to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. And that is what's ahead here on today's program. Appreciate you guys being here with us as we're rocking and rolling and having a great time here on this Wednesday. Shout out your city. Let us know where you're watching from as we're checking in from the Chat Sports Studios in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday afternoon. It is feeling a lot better these days than what it was last week. It was quite miserable, if I would say so myself. But we're having a good time here, enjoying ourselves. Hopefully you guys are having a good time wherever you are at. We got a team in Indianapolis at the Combine as well, and they're bringing us coverage throughout the week, so stay tuned for more Combine content over the next few days here on the channel. Let us know where you're at. Orchard says, where's Tyler? I'm right here. I'm right here. Do you not see me? I'm the Magic Man. Now you see me? Now you don't. We got Cope in Louisiana. Got Dirty L, Earl checking in from Ridgefield, Washington. I see Caleb already with a mailbag question. Thank you for that, Caleb. We'll get to that coming up later. Start getting in those questions now using hashtag Seahawks or Super Chatting. Where are you guys watching from? I already see 46 people in the building, but I have no idea where you are unless you tell us in the chat where you're watching from. I got Scott in Astoria, Illinois, not Astoria, Oregon. I would be willing to bet that Astoria, Oregon is probably a better place than Astoria, Illinois. Let's see. We got Lon says, Magic Man, good song from the heart. Scott is in Walla Walla, Washington. Hey, Scott. Walla Walla. I had a nice brunch there one time many, many years ago. Orchard says, yeah, I see you now, Mr. Jones. I was here the entire time. Right here. No one else. Just me. Right here. I don't know what you're talking about. I got Paul checking in from the Philippines. Paul, you trying to go find a mail-order bride out there or something? What are you doing in the Philippines? What the hell are you doing out there? Scott is in Bellingham. I got Brian in Thailand. I got Kimberly in Silverdale, Washington. Got Michael in Honolulu. We got Bruce in High River, Alberta, Canada. The 51st state of the United States. Canada. That's what I've been told. Let's see. We got Marvin in Lapine, Oregon. Got Jennifer in Aberdeen, Washington. Where else you guys at? Let us know in the chat where you are watching from. And also got Steve checking in from Seattle. Quiz time. How many Seahawks running backs all time can you name? And here is my only stipulation. They have to be somebody that's been on the active roster, on the active 53-man roster. Don't give me practice squad names. All right? None of that BS. Give me real running backs that have been on the active roster. I want to see who can name the most amount of running backs in their individual comment and prove that you know ball and see who can come up with the most in the chat. Let us know. On the ones and twos today, we are not with the one and only Big Tex. We have
No, you're not.
We've upgraded, some would say, to Brett Alper in the building, making his return to Seahawks Today for the second time. Alper, welcome back.
I'm excited to be back, Tyler. I'm excited to be back.
We got a fun weekend ahead. Alper and I are headed to Austin on Saturday. Going to watch a little NASCAR.
See some NASCAR. Are there any NASCAR fans in the chat?
Any NASCAR fans in the chat? Anybody coming to Austin for the race? Circuit of the Americas this weekend. I'm excited. I can't wait. And for all of the haters and the losers out there, Alper, that say, oh, NASCAR, turn left. No, we're going to see them turn right.
We're going to make some right turns this week.
Orchard says he can name about 60 running backs. Prove it, Orchard. Prove it.
Scott's in there with a lot.
Scott's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good start. Scott's got the number to beat with 12. Albert, I know you're not a Seahawks fan. He's a Patriots fan. Forgive him. How many do you think you could come up with?
All right. I hope 10.
Okay.
I hope 10. I mean, the chat's giving me some help here.
Yeah, the chat's giving you plenty.
I'm thinking we got obviously
12's the number to beat right now. How many can you come up with?
Obviously, Sean Alexander.
That's one.
I mean, Marshawn Lynch.
That's two.
You should have handed the ball off to Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, you had to go there. You had to go there.
Rashad
This
Penny.
Patriots fan already, not even 10 minutes into the show, taking shots.
Kenny Walker.
Okay.
It's a hard one. I'm trying to think. I don't know. You can name a lot more than I can.
I can name a lot. Adriano says, is Alper the new Smitty?
Pretty much.
There's not necessarily a new Smitty. You can't replace Smitty. But Alper you will be seeing from time to time on this program.
I mean, I replaced Smitty as the New York Knicks Now watch party producer. If any of you have turned into a Knicks watch party, you definitely know who I am.
Yeah, you've made your presence known over there. But we do enjoy having Alper here. Steve's saying just run the ball. What could have been?
Just run the ball.
What could have been?
Glad you did.
Caleb says Sean Alexander and Marshawn Lynch. That's all I got. Caleb, you couldn't even give me Kenneth Walker or Zach Charbonnet or Kenny McIntosh or George Holani. Come on, Caleb. I know you can do better than that. Come on now. 12's the number to beat from Scott. We'll see if anybody can top that with the most. And Scott added some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. He's up to 18. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to top
Leon
Scott.
Washington. That's a pull.
On Monday's live show, we got our first Super Chat before I even got to the Super Chat menu. I don't think that's going to happen today.
I was sitting in the back, outside of the studio, and I was like, what the hell's going on?
Monday was a crazy show.
Live.
If you missed Monday's show and you missed out on the craziness, don't worry. We can do it again. Here's the Super Chat menu. We can go crazy. We get a little turnt in here. Alper and I are planning to get a little turnt this weekend. I have no plans to be sober on Saturday night.
I do not either.
But we can go ahead and get started a little bit early if you guys give us the opportunity to do so. $sign next to the chat box. First time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 will do a beer cheers. $10 take shots. $20 will get bean boozled with the crazy jelly beans. And I'll say this too, folks. It can be dealer's choice. Alper's making it known. He cannot stand these. If you would like to punish him with a jelly bean, just let us know that it's specifically for him.
There's like barf in there. There's like used Band-Aid.
Rotten egg,
Yeah.
liver and onions, stink bag, old bandage, stinky socks, barf, all sorts of different beans to choose from. $50 to do a beer bong. Also, with your Super Chat, if you would like to get on the mailbag, Super Chat questions get priority on the mailbag. It's the only way we can guarantee that you'll be on the mailbag is if you Super Chat us. So, Adriano says, so is Alper joining the drinking? Yeah, if you want him to drink, he'll drink.
If you want me to, you got a Super Chat. I'm doing it. I'm with $50 beer bongs.
Hear that?
$50 a beer bong.
Alper is game for a beer bong. But we need a $50 Super Chat to make it happen. And the offer stands, as always. If we reach $300 in Super Chats, a boot will go down, as we did on Monday. And it was under 18 seconds, by the way. I did that boot Monday. We could do another boot today, but we got to reach $300 in Super Chats. So who is going to send the first Super Chat of the day? I can already tell you this much. It's going to get a little turnt here when we get that first Super Chat. Could be $1, could be $50. I don't care how big the Super Chat is. We are going to show you some love for sending in the very first Super Chat of the day, but I need you guys to jump on board and get this party started and send us that first Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box if you would like to contribute. Alper, I know there's a lot of people that don't know who you are. You've only been here once with us before. What would you like to do? What would you like to push the audience to make you do of our following options? Or maybe even make an offer potentially? What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
All right, I'll say this. I'll give a little deal here. Before we start the actual show, if we get a $20 Super Chat, I'll do a beer ball.
How about
little deal here.
So how about that, folks? $20 only before the show begins.
If the show after it starts, once we get into a break, deal's off.
So you have a limited time frame. You got about 5 minutes here. 5 minutes, $20, beer bong from Alper, and a Bean Boozled too. So about 5 minutes here. If somebody sends in a $20 Super Chat in the next 5 minutes before the show starts, you'll get a Bean Boozled and you'll get a beer bong. That sounds like a hell of a deal, my friends, if you want to take advantage of it. Let's see who is going to do it, who is going to do their part, and help us have a great time today here on this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. So that is the Super Chat menu, and let's have a good time today. You guys know how our theme is around here. When we drink, we score. We drink, we win. I know that it's the offseason now, but that does not mean we can't score. I need to score. I can tell you that.
I need to score.
Yeah, we both need to score. Let's see. Adriano says, how is your name Blue, bro? Huh? Oh, Time Man the Buckeye. His name is Blue because we've given him moderator status. Because he gets to moderate the chat and block all the bots and keep you guys in line.
He's a real one.
Yes, he has earned that status. Not given, earned by Time Man the Buckeye. Good to see you here, Time Man the Buckeye. All right. If you're ready for today's show to begin, if you would like a shout-out from the one and only Brett Alper, I need everybody to spam S in the chat. We already got 50 people in the building. Not a bad start.
Not a bad start.
But I know we can do more than that. We can do better than that, folks. We need to wake up the algorithm a bit, let people know that we are here, that we're live here on this Wednesday edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. So go ahead and start spamming S. Alper's going to shout out all the S's. Let's see how many S's we can get over this next minute. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Who do we got here? There we go, Dirty Earl. Adriano. Dirty Earl still going. He's spamming S's all through the chat. I want to see more people. Scott, I see you. Who else we got here? Samuel Jurgensen. Adriano still spamming those S's. Dirty Earl. I'm not as fast as Tex, I'll say that. Tex can go through them all. Kimberly. Scott back at it again. Adriano. Kimberly again. Scott. Dirty Earl. Dirty Earl again. Kimberly. Scott.
Let's get some new names in there. Come on.
Scott. Come on. Let's see some new people. Caleb. I see you, Caleb. Steve J. All the same people. I want to see some new names in here. Come on. Caleb, Kimberly, Adriano, Caleb, Steve J, Kimberly. Jeff Johnson's in here. Josh Woodard. Jeff Johnson, Robert Rader, Dirty Earl once again. Josh Woodard, Kimberly, Steve J.
About 10 seconds.
Brian
Keep going.
Hazel. Come on. Spam those S's. Brian Hazel, make this hard for me. Michael 808, Jeff Johnson, Robert Rader, Caleb Tize, Josh Woodard, Sosas.
There we go.
There we go.
Not bad. Not bad. Good work, everybody. We're at 15 likes right now. I need 30 to officially get today's show started.
Come on.
So if you haven't already, hit that like button. And when you like that video, let me know in the chat. Type me. We'll shout you out. We'll show you some love. As our old friend Smitty says, when you get here, the very first thing you need to do is like the video. It's like taking your shoes off when you enter somebody's home. It's the right thing to do. It's a good tone setter for the rest of today's show. So go ahead and hit that like button. We're at 17 likes right now. And when you like the video, let me know in the chat that you have liked the video. And we'll show you some love as we get this thing started. Got to get to 30 likes to start today's show. I'll open up my first cold drink. I have a White Claw today. There ain't no laws when you're drinking claws. I have a lemon White Claw. I don't think I've actually tried this flavor, to be honest.
It's straight lemon.
Straight lemon.
Usually you get the lemon lime, get a little mixture to it.
It was the last one in the fridge.
I don't think I've ever seen a lemon.
I need one more to start today's show. We're at 29 likes right now. I got to get to 30.
We got to get to 30.
Nicholas says, hey, Tyler. Hey. Kimberly says she liked the video. Thank you, Kimberly.
Appreciate you, Kimberly.
One more like and we'll start today's show. Type me when you like the video. Jennifer says, I have liked the video. Thank you, Jennifer. Jenny from the block. Orchard says, come on, Tyler, I'm not your lady. Orchard, I didn't say you were my lady. Are you offering? Do you want to be my lady, Orchard? I don't know if I want to take you up on that.
Start singing My Girl.
Yeah, my girl. My girl.
There we go.
There we go. 30 likes. 30 likes. All right. One more minute before we start the show. Last chance to take Alper up on his offer. $20 super chat. And he'll do a beer bong and a bean boozled. Go ahead and throw the super chat menu up one more time. This is your last chance to take advantage of this deal from Alper. We have a minute till this show begins. I need you to like the video, which you should have done already. But if we get a super chat in the next 30 seconds before we officially get the show started, Alper will do a beer bong and a bean boozled for a $20 super chat. So here's your last chance. Last chance, folks.
Last call.
We had a hell of a show on Monday. I don't see any reason why we can't do it again today here on a Wednesday.
Why the hell not? Why the hell not?
Why are we starting slow, folks? Why are we starting slow? I don't understand why you guys can't bring the same energy from Monday over to Wednesday. Why can we not run it back?
The vibes are down.
But the vibes are down. Not a single super chat. I told you if we got $1 super chat, I'd get excited. But you guys aren't bringing it. It doesn't feel like that same energy that I felt on Monday. Maybe we could change that. There's still a lot of time, still a lot of show left, but I'm not feeling quite the energy we felt on Monday just yet. We'll see if things change.
And we got a mailbag, too, and if you want guaranteed to be on the mailbag, you got to super chat.
Kimberly says she can't figure out how to super chat. $ sign next to the chat box. It's right there. Right next to where you're sending your messages. $ sign next to the chat box. That's all you got to do to super chat. And we will take all of your money. I don't care how much it is. We will gladly take all of it. Caleb just switched his card. Caleb, that's fine. Whatever works. We'll take whatever works. We'll take all your money, and we will pay off accordingly. All right, coming up on today's show, the latest news and rumors surrounding the NFL Draft Combine. We got a new mock draft from Mel Kiper Jr., as well as a new rumor. Oh, there we go. Nicholas took you up on it. Right in the nick of time.
He took me up on it. Let's get that.
We'll get to Nicholas here in just a second. Latest on Geno Smith and with his contract negotiations. We'll talk about that. And then we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well. Start getting in your questions now using hashtag Seahawks or super chatting to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Let's get to Nicholas's super chat. Nicholas, right in the nick of time. We were literally just about to start the show. And you guys almost missed out. So I will hand the tools over. With great power comes great responsibility for our friend Alper here.
Well, look at that crack.
Oh, that's professional.
I was ready for it.
There you go. Here's your beer bong.
We got to do the bean boozled too.
And here's your beer, your bean. Would you like me to choose your bean for you, or you want to choose your bean?
You choose. I'll do the beer bong.
Okay.
While you're choosing the bean.
All right. So I got the brownish one for you.
Oh Lord.
It's going to be either stink bug or toasted marshmallow. Start with the beer bong first.
Oh, here we go.
Chug it away, folks. Shout out Nicholas. Spam Nicholas.
Spam Nicholas right in the nick of time.
Let's go, Nicholas. Bang.
Ooh.
How was that?
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It is not bad.
A little cold happy dad there in the beer pong. Now, for the jelly bean. What will it be? Get your predictions in, chat. Stink bug or toasted marshmallow?
I hope it's toasted marshmallow.
Let's find out. One bite, everyone knows the rules. Oh, no, it's Stink Bug. Man down. Man down. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance.
That's awful. It was like a mixture of both. It was like sweet, but it tasted like a... Oh, God.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
And then if you know about jelly beans, they stick in your teeth. They stick in your teeth. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Couple more super chats. Adriano says, will there be an updated DK song this season?
You have a DK song?
We do have a DK song. I'll sing you the DK song. We updated it before last season. If you recall, folks, there was the Pete Carroll version. And then after Pete moved on, then we had to change it to the Mike Mac version. So I don't have any reason to change it now, unless there's something that you know that I don't. But since you asked, I will sing you the most recent version of the DK song. Alper doesn't know the DK song.
I do not know the DK song.
So here is the DK song for folks at home that don't know. Chompin', chompin', Mike Mac's chompin', Geno passes, no one stoppin', DK, touchdowns all day. He rules. What is that based on, folks? Alper, do you know?
Is it the Burger King song?
It is the Burger
It's the
King
Burger
song.
King song.
Burger King.
Whopper.
Whopper, double Whopper, Junior, double, triple Whopper. Perfect taste with perfect choppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickles, ketchup.
That is a
It's
lot more than
okay
I
if
know.
I don't want that.
Come on.
You rule your season today at BK.
Have it your way.
Have it your way. You
You
rule.
rule.
Burger King is disgusting, by the way.
It used to be good.
It did. The last time I had Burger King, I kid you not. Ready for this, folks? January 1st, 2024. The day Damar Hamlin collapsed on the football field. Yeah, that's the last time I had Burger King. It was within an hour of it happening. So I have not had Burger King since.
That's why you remember it.
That's why I remember it. Adriano said I'd never heard the Mike Mac version. Where were you all season, Adriano? We sang it all year. Brian's the first-time super chatter, by the way.
First time super chatter.
First-time
Ooh,
super
there
chatter.
we go.
Brian, welcome in. Glad to have you here.
I gotta find that. There we go.
A first-time super chatter. We do this for our first-time super chatters. Everybody spam Brian in the chat. We're going to give him the Seahawks chant. I want to see some more first-time super chatters like Brian, and we'll give you this chant. Your warm introduction. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us. You are now a proud member of the Seahawks Today family. Appreciate you being here. Alper's going to get the chant started for Brian. Everybody spam Brian in the chat. For Brian!
Brian!
No, that's not the chant.
I don't know the Seahawks chant, Tyler.
You got to say C and I say Hawks,
Okay.
and we do it 3 times.
Okay, you ready?
Try again.
Ready?
Take 2.
Take 2.
False
I don't
start.
know. I'm new to the Seahawks channel. So
I
let's
thought
see.
you knew the Seahawks chant. My bad. My bad.
No. All right.
All right, take 2. For Brian.
C.
Hawks.
C.
Hawks.
C.
Hawks. Let's go, Brian. Yeah. Everybody spam Brian in the chat. Caleb says Brian the Hawk. Brian the Hawk.
Brian the Hawk.
Brian the Hawk. Cheers to you, Brian. All right. Now, with that out of the way, we can begin today's show. But let's go ahead and get started. Mel Kiper Jr. This man, Mel Kiper Jr., he eats pumpkin pie for breakfast every day. He watches The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, old tapes of it, on his VCR every night at 11:30 because that's the time the show came on, 5 nights a week. He is an interesting fellow. We're going to go over his latest mock draft, who he has the Seahawks selecting, and could Taysom Hill be on his way to Seattle? I got a new rumor that we'll address. We'll talk about that and more as we get started on this live edition of Seahawks Today, starting right now. You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. coming up on today's show. We have a brand new Mel Kiper Jr. mock draft to get to. We'll tell you who he has the Seahawks selecting at 18th overall. React to it coming up in just a bit. Also, Taysom Hill, the Starman Mormon himself of the New Orleans Saints. Could he be on his way to Seattle? I got a new rumor to address that we'll talk about coming up later on in today's program. I got a little survey that I want to start today's show with. I'm very curious. Of all you watching out there, how many of you have been to a Seahawks game? Whether it's at Lumen Field, maybe it was an away game, maybe it was an international game of sorts. I don't know. Maybe you've been to a Super Bowl. If you've been to a Seahawks game of any kind, type 12 in the comments section. I want to see a lot of 12s. I want to see a lot of representation telling us whether or not you've been to a Seahawks game or not. I'm just curious if you've been to a Seahawks game ever in your lifetime. If so, type 12 in the comments section. We'll get started with today's show. New mock draft from ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. He is projecting the Hawks select Alabama offensive guard Tyler Booker with the 18th overall pick. Let's hear the analysis of what Mel had to say. Booker is the best pure guard in this class, and while addressing the interior might not be the most exciting first-round pick, it's a problem in Seattle. Laken Tomlinson is a free agent in the middle of the Seahawks offensive line, contributed to the team's 54 sacks allowed, tied for the third most. Booker is strong enough to anchor, allowing 1 sack in 3 seasons at Alabama. And he's able to open run lanes, which could pop Kenneth Walker III for some big runs. I like this pick by Mel Kiper Jr. here. And obviously, for starters, you're taking care of a big position of need at the offensive guard spot, which you are going to need some help with. And you found a fantastic football player in the process as well. It's not the sexy pick, all right? If Seattle drafts Tyler Booker on draft night, there's not going to be a parade in downtown Seattle for drafting Tyler Booker here. But even with that said, this is the smart pick on the part of the Hawks here if they go this route with Tyler Booker. And like Mel said, he's the best pure guard in this draft. There's talk about some of these tackles moving over to the guard position. We've been over several of them here on this program over the last few weeks. But of guys that are a natural at the position, they don't get better than Tyler Booker as far as that goes. So with that in mind, I like the idea of Tyler Booker. We'll go over his scouting report, get to know Tyler Booker coming up in just a moment. But first, should the Seahawks draft Tyler Booker? It's our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. D for draft, P for pass. Chime in. Should they draft Booker or not? Weigh in and let us know. Coming up later on, we are going to talk about Taysom Hill and the idea of bringing him to Seattle. I'll share some thoughts. We'll let you hear from Brock Heward with this idea coming up in just a bit. Stay tuned for that right here on Seahawks Today. Let's get back to Tyler Booker now and learn a little bit more about the Alabama offensive guard. Played for the Tide from 2022 to 2024. Was a first-team All-American selection this past season. 2 straight years as a 2-time first-team All-SEC selection as well in the best conference in all of college football, going up against some incredible competition there over the years. And you look at Tyler Booker, and I want to go over his PFF grades here for you and kind of show exactly what the 12s can be expecting, what he brings to the table for this Seahawks team. And you see his overall grade, not great, a 66.5, but his pass block grade was incredible, an 86.5, and a run block grade of a 63.9. So he's got the pass blocking figured out. The run blocking needs some work, and he didn't allow any sacks this past season. So all of that is a positive. I can work with that. He is not perfect, but there's certainly some ground to build upon there. His scouting report is pretty impressive. He's got a massive, dense build. THICC thick, all right? He is able to show some burst when it comes to the pulls of what he's able to do. He's got good pad level. Low man wins. You guys know that. He's good about being that low man. And he's square with power. He delivers body blows. He's a very good striker in that sense. The footwork, a bit mediocre at times when it comes to his quickness. That's going to be one thing that he'll need to improve. But nonetheless, I think if you're Seattle here, this is a guy that you want on your team, and the expectation would be that he's a day one starter. He can step in and start immediately at that left guard spot. He was a left guard at Alabama. I think he would take Laken Tomlinson's role. You would still have to figure out what you're going to do at the right guard spot, but I think this would be a huge step in the right direction if they were to do so. Speaking of the first round, you see Mel projected Tyler Booker. What do you guys think? Who will be Seattle's first-round pick at 18th overall? Give us a name in the comment section that comes to mind who you think the Hawks are going to select. Weigh in and let us know. We are all over the NFL draft right here on Seahawks Today. I can pretty much guarantee you, you do not know anybody that watches college football like yours truly. I love college football even more than I do the National Football League. And so we will bring you the best draft coverage you will find anywhere when it comes to this Seattle Seahawks team. We're talking everything from mock drafts to news and rumors, and our analysis this offseason goes well beyond the draft as well. We're talking everything from trades to free agency. If you're a diehard Seahawks fan, this is where you're going to want to be all offseason long. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. I don't think that's a tall task. Subscribe now, and you'll be glad you did. Let's shift our attention now to free agency. Brock Huard, former Seahawks and Washington quarterback, does a radio in Seattle with Seattle Sports. Does a really good job. Also covers college football for Fox Sports. He is saying that the Hawks should be highly interested in Saints tight end Taysom Hill, who's expected to be released within the coming weeks. Huard said this: if he does get released, he'd be a name I'd be highly interested in Seattle. To have a guy with that versatility, that joker position that can do so many things and do them well. You know, I went to the University of Kansas, and I grew up watching Mark Mangino football. And if you recall, many years ago, there was a team that Kansas had that went to the Orange Bowl with Todd Racing and Aqib Talib and Chris Harris and several others. And the thing that made that team unique, that Mark Mangino always talked about, that I have been a firm believer in as a football fan, is having athletes. One of the things Mangino talked about was, he said, hey, I just need to get these guys in the building, and I'm going to find a spot to put them on the football field. And I think when you look at Taysom Hill, that logic applies here. He is a hell of an athlete. He doesn't necessarily do one thing great, but he does several things well. He is a Swiss Army knife. And Clint Kubiak, I think, can find a way to make him a natural fit in this offense. And a big reason why, he played for Clint Kubiak this past year in New Orleans. Clint has made it no secret. He is a fan of Taysom Hill and what he does on the football field. Kubiak said this recently after taking the job as Seattle's OC on Taysom Hill. Asked about if he could find guys to play a variety of roles. He said, we had a guy that comes to mind in Taysom Hill that was a weapon that I was able to get creative with. So that makes you think, is he already putting that in John Schneider and Mike Macdonald's ear that, hey, if Taysom Hill becomes available, we should bring him into Seattle? Should the Seahawks sign Taysom Hill? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, N for no. What do you think about this possibility of signing Taysom Hill? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know. Seahawks hats are on sale now for up to 50% off. We got the flat bill version. We got the baseball cap style. And we have all sorts of hats. You're seeing several on your screen right now. There's plenty more to choose from. It's all on our website, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats, where you can check those out and see for yourself, as well as other Seahawks gear. Plenty of variety to choose from. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats is where you can get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. All right, so let's tell you about Taysom Hill now. Quarterback, tight end, running back, a variety of different things, whatever you want to call him. He's played 8 different positions in the National Football League. There was a point in time when Sean Payton thought he was going to be Drew Brees' replacement. That didn't necessarily work out, but the Saints still have gotten a lot out of him in his time since joining the Saints in 2017 out of BYU. And if you look at the numbers at Taysom Hill, the stats, they aren't that great, if we're going to be honest with you, about what he did in 2024. But as the great Bill Belichick once said, stats are for losers, scoreboards for winners. The stats don't tell the whole story of the impact that Taysom Hill could potentially bring to an offense. You look at the statistics of what he did last season, and you can see he was a threat in both the receiving and the rushing game. 39 total carries, 278 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, along with 23 catches, 187 yards, 8.1 yards of reception. And whether you line him up as an H-back or a tight end, a fullback, whatever it may be, Clint Kubiak can find a way to make Taysom Hill a key piece to this offense. And we know the Seahawks, they want to be physical. They want some guys that can do a variety of things. I think getting Taysom Hill, which shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg, could be a natural fit for what Seattle wants to do. And you might get a backup quarterback in the process as well with Taysom Hill on that front. Appreciate y'all joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. If you made it to the end of today's video, that means you are a real one. Spam real one in the comments section. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. That is one down. We got 2 more segments to go. I'm showing double on the screen right now.
Are you?
Yeah. Why am I 2 people right now? There we go. Should the Seahawks sign Taysom Hill? Y for yes, in for no. It's our pinned comment today. 69, getting a little sexual in here, say yes. 31% say no. Steve says yes. Charles says hell yes. Jamel says yes. Jamel says, do you ship to Canada? Of course we ship to the 51st state. Of course we do that. Should Seattle bring in Taysom Hill? Alpert rejoins here right now. Alpert, I think if you go in with a mindset, yeah, he's not going to be my quarterback.
No, not at all.
But I can find a way to get him on the football field, and I don't think he's going to cost you much. I think he makes sense. What do you think?
I think he makes sense. I mean, for the Saints, is he the Saints running back? Is he the Saints quarterback? No. He is that guy that you can put in as a fullback, as a running back, as a tight end, and he's going to make it work. He's been a little injured. I mean, the stats, like you said, he's been hurt. That's why the stats don't look as good as they do. But when he stays healthy, when he is healthy, he's one of the most athletic people on the field.
As the Patriot guy, did you like me getting that Belichick quote in there?
I did. He's with.
Do you remember when he said that?
He said so many things over the
Yes.
last couple years.
Stats are for losers.
Do your job.
Scoreboards for winners. P&W Mate says no. Give me a reason. Give me a reason why you don't want Taysom Hill.
If you can get him cheap, why not?
Why not? We're not asking him to be the starting quarterback. All right? All right? We can live with him playing a positional role in this team. Super chat coming in. $20 super chat. That's another Bean Boozled on the way. I'll take care of this one.
It's your turn.
First time here, finally figured it out. Kimberly, first time super chatter. That means you're getting the chant and the Bean Boozled. Kimberly, welcome to the big show. Appreciate you being here with us. Everybody spam Kimberly in the chat. Spam Kim. Nicholas says your mic's a little quiet, by the way.
It's unmuted.
Okay.
It is unmuted.
Maybe he just needs to talk louder.
Maybe. How about now? How about now?
That better?
Can you guys hear me?
There we go. There we go. Everybody spam Kimberly in the chat. Let's give her the chant first, and then I will take care of the Bean Boozled. Kimberly, welcome to the family. Welcome to Seahawks Today. Glad you can be here for the very first time with us and super chatting on your very first show. That's pretty awesome as well. Alper for Kimberly.
See.
Hawks!
C!
Hawks!
C!
Hawks! Let's go, Kimberly!
Let's go, Kimberly!
Awesome. Lon says Kimberly. That's a nice name. All right, let's see. I'm going to go with the kind of confetti-looking one. Let's see. What am I choosing between?
Probably birthday cake and something.
It is either Stinky Socks or Tutti Frutti. What will it be? Get your guesses in now, chat. Will it be Stinky Socks or Tutti Frutti?
Have that drink prepared for you.
Here we go, folks. One bite, everyone knows the rules.
Is it Tutti Frutti?
I lucked out. That's Tutti Frutti.
No, come on.
I lucked out. Not bad. I might be farting after this, but hey. Not bad. Thank you, Kimberly. Send in a $20 super chat, and could be a good bean, could be a bad bean. Not Stinky Socks. I'm very fortunate.
You're fortunate.
I'm very fortunate.
Very fortunate. Oh, you lucky.
Yeah. P&W Mate says, we're full on wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. We have no place for him. We're about to get rid of Noah Fant, so that's not true. Pharaoh Brown's not coming back, so no. Lies. No. Incorrect. Noah Fant is out of here. He's out of here. All right? You're fired.
I like Noah Fant, too. That's the problem.
He's just not worth a $9 million cap hit.
I know. I got to interview him a couple times when he came back. I lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and he was there a couple times.
Super chat menu, if you'd like to take part in today's show. We're at $44 right now. We got to get to $300 to get to a boot, which is 3 beers in one. We drink it as fast as we can. And let's see if we can get there. Still got a ways to go. We're at 44. We did it on Monday. Can we go back-to-back live shows with a boot? First time Super Chats get the Seahawks chant, $5, give you a bear cheers, $10, take some shots, $20, get bean boozled, $50, we'll do a beer bong. When we drink, we score. When we drink, we win. Alper and I, we're headed to Austin this weekend. We want to score.
We want to score.
2 single men living it up in Austin.
The time of our lives.
Yeah, we're trying to score this weekend. What are you most looking forward to with this Austin NASCAR trip?
I probably besides the race, obviously, I'm most excited for the race.
Is this your first time in Austin?
Yes, this is my first time in Austin. I've never been to Austin. I mean, before I moved to Dallas.
I did make a point, by the way, to grab the Tito's. This is based in Austin. Austin's finest, Tito's Vodka. $10 shots, and we can bring Austin to Seahawks today. They say keep Austin weird. Austin, I feel like, is, to give you perspective, and for the people in the Pacific Northwest to get an idea, it's like if Portland and Nashville had a baby.
I've never been to Portland. I've been to Nashville many times. Portland
is weird as hell. Sorry for the Portland folks out there. They already know that, though. Portland, you'd have to pay me money to go to Portland these days. Nashville, I love with all my heart. It's one of my favorite cities.
It's one of my favorite cities. Every time I have the time of my life.
But, yes, we are headed to Austin this weekend, and it will be a great time. Let's see. What are people saying in the chat? Theron says we should keep Noah. Charles says, what's wrong with Noah? I have 9 million reasons to move on from Noah. All right? He's not worth a $9 million cap hit. I've already explained that. Not worth it. I can get a better, cheaper tight end on the open market than I can with Noah.
Taysom Hill.
I wouldn't necessarily say Taysom Hill's better, but I don't have to pay him nearly as much.
Is Dalton Schultz going to be on the market?
Dalton Schultz? I don't know.
I thought I heard some rumblings that
he's better than Noah Fant.
The Texans are trying to get rid of him.
Ooh, that could be an idea. Freedom says Portland thinks you are weird. Okay. Well, you know what? Portland's one of those cities that's really just kind of gone to shit. I mean, Portland used to be a fine city. I think the Blazers are embarrassed to be there now. I mean, folks, tell me this. Tell me this in the chat. You know, the Rose Garden, I don't know what it's called now, like the Moda Center or something like that.
I think that it's called the Moda Center.
That place has turned into a dump. Why don't we move the Trailblazers to Seattle and make them the Sonics. What would you guys think about that? Should we take Portland's NBA team away from them? They might as well be in Seattle and become the Sonics. What do we think about that idea? What do you think about that idea, Alper?
I think that'd be a good idea, but I think Seattle's getting a team no matter what. I think they're getting an expansion team. I think them in Vegas. But
when, though? We've been waiting for that.
That is a good question. When are they expanding? They just signed maybe when they signed the new TV deal. NBA signed the new TV deal, so maybe a couple years after. I don't know. Adam Silver, he doesn't know what he's doing right now. He has no idea what he's doing with the NBA right now.
What do you guys think about that idea? Let's move the Blazers to Seattle and bring back the Supersonics. I think that's one of my better ideas.
Back the Supersonics. You have to bring back the Supersonics.
You have to. You have to. Steve says outstanding idea. Outstanding idea. Yeah. No one's going to miss the Trailblazers.
No.
Let's see. Chefferton says nothing but a pile of litter and passed out on druggies when I went there for a concert in Portland. Chefferton, I have a bone to pick with you. You were complaining about our content on the channel. I think that was earlier today. Chefferton,
what
we got a job to do. We make content here.
What for?
He didn't like the Myles Garrett video.
What did you say anything specifically, or?
And he was saying quantity over quality, apparently, on this channel. It came from a Seahawks insider. I didn't make it up. It came from Michael Sean Duggar of The Athletic. I was just reacting to what Michael Sean Duggar had to say. If you got a problem with that, that's a you problem.
That's a you problem.
Oh, Chefferton said that wasn't me. Maybe it was somebody else. Sorry, Chefferton. Didn't mean for you to take strays. Somebody that looked like your avatar. I think I got you mixed up with somebody. My bad, Jefferson. Whoever you are, you know who you are. I did not take kindly to that. I was just reacting to the news of the day. That's all it was.
Myles Garrett, I mean, he's one of the best pass rushers ever.
Yeah. It was worth doing a video. I thought so. All right, moving on now. Segment 2. Let's talk Geno. Let's do a mailbag.
We need some more questions for the mailbag.
Make Alper's life easier. Start sending in questions.
Please make my life easier.
Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. There's the Super Chat menu. We're at $44 right now. Got to get to 300 to a boot. You guys, help us. Help us. Let's get to a boot. Let's get to a boot before the end of the day today.
Ask your questions in the chat. If you have a question, hashtag Seahawks. You can type it in lowercase, type it in capitalization, uppercase, or just put that S capital. Any of your questions in the chat. Hashtag Seahawks. If you want to talk about Noah Fant, hashtag Seahawks. You want to talk about Geno Smith, hashtag Seahawks. Who's the tight end situation?
So here's a question, Alper. You and I were, as mentioned, we're going to Austin this weekend.
Yes.
And what if, we mentioned that we want to score this weekend. Alper and I are sharing a room with 2 beds. What happens if we do happen to get lucky? How do we sort out that situation?
I guess first come, first serve.
First come, first serve. Who gets there first?
Yeah, exactly. First come, first serve. I've done it. I did it in Nashville with the boys.
And the other one's got to go get another room.
Or just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Oh man.
It can't be that long.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, potentially.
Exactly.
Geno Smith, let's tell you the latest of the Seahawks quarterback. We'll break down that situation with his extension. And Steve J getting in a question for the mailbag. Thank you, Steve J.
Shout out to you, Steve J.
Be like Steve J. Send in questions using hashtag Seahawks or Super Chatting for that mailbag segment that's coming up next. Right now, though, let's tell you about Geno Smith as we continue here on this live edition of Seahawks Today, starting right now. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. On today's show, we got an update on Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, as John Schneider told us where things stand when it comes to a contract extension. He also laid out his 3-step plan for the quarterback position going forward from here. We'll tell you what the plan is, share our thoughts in just a bit. Before we do, I got a little survey for the 12s out there. Are you a Seahawks fan from the Pacific Northwest? Whether that's the great city of Seattle, maybe it's in Spokane, Maybe it's in Portland, Salem, heck, maybe even Pendleton or LeGrand for that matter, wherever you're at in the Pacific Northwest. If you're a Seahawks fan from the Pacific Northwest, like today's video. If not, comment and tell me where you're watching from. I just want to survey the 12s and let us know, and we'll get started with today's show. Seahawks GM John Schneider earlier this week at the NFL Draft Combine, he revealed his plans for Geno Smith's future as well as what they plan to do with this quarterback position going forward this offseason. Step one is extending Geno Smith. Seattle has made their intentions known that they don't plan for Geno to go anywhere right now, that they want to keep him as Seattle's starting quarterback for next year and potentially beyond that. But even with that said, that's not stopping them from step number two, which is drafting a quarterback. John Schneider says, ideally, they would like to draft a quarterback this year, that the board hasn't necessarily worked out for them in years past to find a quarterback that they would like. Now, whether that's this year or next, eventually they are going to have to find their quarterback of the future as far as that goes. And step three is protecting Geno Smith. You guys all know full well that this offensive line was a disaster in 2024, and they need some reinforcements up front to protect their starting QB. And whether that's Geno or whether it's the long-term quarterback, they got to have guys that they could trust up front to get the job done. So with that said, let's start with what John Schneider had to say on Geno Smith. We expect him to be our guy, but we want to do what's right too. I don't want to get into specific conversations. We've had great conversations. Obviously, he's confident. That's the way he rolls. The Athletic is projecting that Geno, his next contract, will get him upwards of $37 million a year, which Seattle, they can afford to pay. In fact, if they give him an extension, that'll move some money around and that'll create some cap space for this offseason, giving them some flexibility to do so. And a player of his caliber, that's not unreasonable for Seattle to pay that type of money. As the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith has gone to 2 Pro Bowls. He was named the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year and led the league in completion percentage in his first full-time season as the starter in 2022. A 28-24 overall record as the Hawks' starting QB. And the numbers for Geno Smith, they're not bad. Last year, even with that awful offensive line, he still had career highs in yards and completion percentage, threw for 21 touchdowns and 15 picks. We all remember that 2022 season that went so well for him when he led the league in completion percentage at 68.4%, or 69.8% rather, with over 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Seattle would love to see him get back to 2022 form and potentially build upon that, but all signs point to that Geno's not going anywhere unless these negotiations break down of some sorts here in the coming weeks. Should the Hawks extend Geno Smith? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know. Type E for extend, D for don't. What do you think? Chime in the comments section and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Z-Biotics. You may be wondering, what is Z-Biotics? Well, that's where I come in, folks. Ever skipped a workout because of drinks the night before? Me too. If you're committed to your healthy routine this year, you need Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Pre-Alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. I just tried pre-alcohol for the first time a couple weekends ago when I took a trip to New Orleans for the big game, and I can honestly say there is no better way to feel better the next morning after drinking than with Z-Biotics. And I got to tell you, enjoying myself, having a good time on Bourbon Street and all that, this made me feel so much better than what I'm typically feeling. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. You can also scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code ChatSports at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code ChatSports to check out for 15% off. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this episode and our good times. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Let's talk about step 2 now. And you heard John Schneider earlier. Step 2 is drafting a quarterback. And we're just being honest here. Geno turning 35 in October. He's no spring chicken. And the plan seems clear that Geno is the guy for the short term, while Seattle tries to find that young franchise quarterback, whether that be in this year's draft or next year's draft. Eventually, they are going to have to find that guy to replace Geno. Geno will be the starter for now, and he will get extended. But the clock is ticking on how much longer he's going to be that guy. John Schneider, this is what he had to say on drafting a quarterback. Hopefully the board talks to us and we draft a quarterback. Just hasn't gone that way in previous drafts. Now, I don't personally expect Seattle to be using the number 18 overall pick on a quarterback. There's only 2 QBs in this draft class that I have a first-round grade on, those being Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I do not expect either quarterback to be available when Seattle picks at 18. But nonetheless, you look at this quarterback class, there are several options here. When you get past Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, Jackson Dart from Mississippi is gaining some traction. He was a guy this past week that ESPN's Matt Miller was saying he feels could be a natural fit in Seattle's offense. You got Kyle McCord from Syracuse. He's a guy that's starting to climb up draft boards after a nice bounce-back season there with Syracuse after a disappointing campaign at The Ohio State. Jalen Milroe, arguably the best athlete of any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft, comes in from Alabama. And this is a guy that we know he can run. And there's been some comparisons to Lamar Jackson, but is he good enough passer at this next level? We'll see. Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. I've seen a lot of Dylan Gabriel. Watched every game of his at Oklahoma. Watched every game of his at Oregon this past season. Dylan Gabriel's a gamer, and he's won a lot of football games. He's a great guy, comes from a great family, a tremendous leader, but not the strongest arm, and he does have some injury history. Will Howard won a national championship at Ohio State. Had a very good year with the Buckeyes. Prior to that, was very solid at Kansas State. He's got some injury issues. Then you got Tyler Schaaf out of Louisville as a possibility. Quinn Ewers was another name that Matt Miller said he feels would be a natural fit for Seattle's offense, especially as they shift towards this new run-first mentality of what he could potentially do. He's coming off taking the Texas Longhorns to back-to-back college football playoff appearances. And then the other 2 quarterbacks rounding out Kiper's top 10 include Riley Leonard, who took Notre Dame to a national title game this year, and Curtis Rourke, who had a breakout season at Indiana, taking them to the college football playoff this past season. Who's a quarterback the Hawks should draft? We've gone over the top 10 list from Mel Kiper. Who comes to mind? If Seattle does end up taking a quarterback, who should it be? Weigh in that comment section and let us know. We are bringing you exceptional Seahawks coverage each and every day here on Seahawks Today. Live shows not just once, but twice a week now, every Monday and Wednesday, in addition to multiple videos a day on the channel, sometimes 2 and 3 videos here as we're talking everything from draft, trades, free agency, and more. If you are a die-hard member of the 12s, well, there's only one way to prove it. That's by subscribing to Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. To subscribe now, you'll be glad you did. Now, you look at the quarterback system that Seattle has and the situation they find themselves in with Geno and then potentially bringing in a young quarterback and all that. Here's the truth of the matter. All right, folks. It almost doesn't matter what you do with the quarterback position if you don't figure out the offensive line, if you don't have anybody to protect your signal caller, if you do not have the guys you need up front to put that quarterback in a position to succeed. And John Schneider's absolutely right in his third step of this plan of finding guys on the offensive line. What is he looking for in offensive linemen? Schneider said this: figuring out what kind of competitor are we getting, their level of intelligence and how they see the game, the quickness in which they see the game, especially with wide zone, run blocking scheme. These guys got to be able to adjust on the run, on the move. We're running off the ball, and last year we were on offense that didn't run off the ball. It's the person and the competitor, and then within our new system, figuring out how to adjust the pass protection stuff, that really never changes. So the plan, I think, going forward to fix this offensive line, this is what I anticipate going into 2025. I think Charles Cross is back, and I expect him to get a long-term extension pretty soon. I think Olu's going to be back being your starting center. Mike Macdonald has spoke glowingly of him, of the job he did stepping in for Connor Williams when he retired midseason. And I think Abraham Lucas is going to be back. I think Abraham Lucas played pretty well when he came back from injury. You do have questions about that knee, if it's going to hold up, if it's a chronic issue like Pete Carroll and company were saying it was, but we'll see. At least for now, he'll be your starting right tackle. So then that leaves the other spots to address, your two guard positions. And then you also have the possibility, well, we just want our best five guys out there. Maybe that means moving positions for Olu to guard. Maybe that means moving Lucas over to a guard spot. Whatever it may be, that's the plan. You're going to roll with Cross, Olu, and Lucas, but you got to find two other guys to play with him. And whether that's free agency, whether that's the draft, that's going to be what the assignment is for John Schneider to address accordingly. Do you trust John Schneider to get the job done with this three-step plan going forward? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in the comments section, let us know what you think. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit the like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. All right. There we go, folks. Final segment up next. It is our mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Do you trust John Schneider? Y for yes, in for no. Alper, what do you think? John Schneider, I mean, they've been winning 9-10 games consistently. They haven't been bad, but they haven't taken that next step up. You see the plan he laid out. What do you think of John Schneider's plan here?
I like his plan. I mean, you have basically a bridge quarterback with Geno Smith. You know he's getting up there in age. You know that he's your guy right now. But you know he's not going to be that guy in the future. So kind of who is going to be that guy in the future? And there's only a matter of time before the fans and the management are like, okay, we're winning these games. We're winning 8-9 games a year. When are we going to take that next step and get out of purgatory? Because when you're winning 8-9 games a year, you're kind of sticking yourself in that NFL draft period where you're drafting middle of the pack and you're not getting a late first round pick because you're so good, and you're not getting a good first round pick because you're so bad.
Yeah. Do you trust John Schneider? About everybody's saying yes. Adriano saying yes. Juno saying yes. Jefferton saying yes.
He's only giving you anything for you to not trust him.
Yeah. He has won a Super Bowl. But obviously there's plenty of work to be done. Let us know. Y for yes, in for no if you trust John Schneider. Super Chat menu. We're at $44 right now. There is still time to get this show crazy. But we need some help in order for this show to get crazy. Use the dollar sign next to the chat box if you'd like to contribute. First-time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 do a beer cheers. $10 take some shots. $20 get being boozled. $50 will do a beer bong. We're at $44 right now. We got to get to $300 to get to a boot. And if you send us a Super Chat, you will get priority in this mailbag segment we'll be bringing you coming up in just a bit. And Alper, how can people get involved in this mailbag segment? I know we could use some more questions.
Hashtag Seahawks. You can type it any way you want as long as you spell Seahawks correctly. You can go in an uppercase, lowercase, one S being capitalized.
And include your question in the comment.
Yes, include your question in the comment. We got a couple. We have a couple, but we do not have any Super Chat questions.
I need at least two more questions. Like Michael, you just used hashtag. That's not going to work. It's going to be hashtag Seahawks. Come on now, Michael. You know better than that.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I need about 2 questions.
7. We have 7 questions. No super chat questions.
Actually, 7 questions be plenty. We're good. All right.
I can show you some of them if you want to see beforehand.
Oh, we're fine. We're fine. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. Our mailbag segment. And that'll be our final segment before we wrap up and call it a day here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Jonesy and Alper here with you. Happy to have you with us on this Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out on today's show. We'll do our final segment, and then we'll get out of here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Appreciate y'all being here with us and staying locked in to our coverage each and every day here on the channel. There we go. Adriano with a question. Very good. All right, Alper, I'm ready to start whenever you are.
Give me 1 second. There we go.
All right. Let's get started. Here we go. Mailbag time. Hashtag Seahawks Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Let's get started. Our final segment begins right now. It's time to touch our bags and drop our sack on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. It is mailbag time. You got questions. I got answers. And I already took a little sneak peek into the mailbag, and a lot of you guys are talking free agency. We're going to discuss the likes of Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, just to name a few. We'll go over all of that in just a bit. Before we do that, let's begin. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and get to our first question. Raw Hector writing in with our first question today. Should the Seahawks take a linebacker before the 4th round or stick with Knight and draft a project linebacker in the later rounds? You know, it's hard to say, Raw Hector. That's not a bad question, but it all kind of depends on how the board shakes out. You really just don't know until the board presents itself what it could potentially look like. And so that's I'm going to give kind of a non-answer here. I don't know. It really just depends on who's there. I will say this, though. Would it shock me if Seattle goes with a linebacker in the 4th round or earlier? No, I could see that happening. I think that's a possibility. And then you get a piece behind Tyrese Knight. Now, if for whatever reason they don't get a deal done with Ernest Jones, and at the time of this recording on our Wednesday live show, there's no deal done just yet, then maybe that changes. If you lose Ernest Jones, then linebacker becomes a higher priority. But with that said, I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't have a certain answer for you because it all depends on how the board looks when they get there and how they've addressed their other needs as well. You may be wondering, how can I be a part of the next mailbag segment? That's not right. Wrong show. Get that off screen. Hold on, folks. That's not right. Get that off screen. Get it off screen. Time out, folks. Little technical difficulties. Let's just take it from the top. Yeah.
That is my fault, fam. We got this going.
Yeah. Wrong show graphic getting on screen. Timeout. False start. Yeah, we'll do that again. We'll just take it from the beginning. All right, one more time, folks. All right, one more time. Here we go. Back from the beginning. All right, here we go. False start. One more time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome in to this mailbag edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, as it is an award-winning mailbag we have coming your way. And a lot of free agency questions, also talking draft and potential trades and all of that as well. And I already took kind of a sneak peek. You guys got some questions on Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, among others. We will break those down for you coming up on today's show. Let's begin with this from Raw Hector. Raw Hector writes in, Hashtag Seahawks, should we take a linebacker before the 4th round or stick with Knight and draft a project linebacker in the later rounds? So at the time of this recording, this comes from our Wednesday live show, the Seahawks have not gotten a deal done with Ernest Jones just yet. Maybe that's changed by the time you're seeing this show. If Ernest Jones walks out that door, then the linebacker position becomes a higher priority, and it's going to be 4th round or earlier to go get a linebacker to play with Tyrese Knight. But let's say, for all intents and purposes, Ernest Jones is back. I don't necessarily know, because it depends on how the board shakes out and how you've taken care of some of your other needs at that linebacker position, or your other needs at other positions, rather, because there's other needs to address before linebacker. So we'll see. I'm open to the possibility, but I don't know exactly what they're going to do. I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick a linebacker 4th round or earlier, but it all kind of depends on the Ernest Jones situation, how that plays out. Stay up to date with the latest happenings on your Seattle Seahawks each and every day here on Seahawks Today. And you may be wondering, how can I be a part of a Mailbag show? Well, here's what you got to do, folks. You got to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you're the first to know when we have new content right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Lock us in for the latest happenings on your favorite team each and every day on Seahawks Today as we're talking draft, free agency, trades, everything you need to know. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications. You'll be glad you did. The 12's our best writes in because the Seahawks end up signing Amari Cooper. So Amari Cooper ends up going to the Buffalo Bills in a midseason trade last year. And if you ask Bills fans, they did not get what they paid for. Far from it. The Bills got to the NFC Championship game not because of the efforts of Amari Cooper. He didn't really add much to that team. Now, we saw when he played against Seattle, he was pretty good, but that didn't really last long, and he didn't make much of an impact as they would have hoped. And there was plenty of opportunities for him to do so with Josh Allen and that high-powered Bills offense, but he ended up with just 44 total catches, 547 yards, and 4 touchdowns, coming off back-to-back seasons with over 1,100 yards. I'll be honest here, folks. If Amari Cooper can't thrive with Josh Allen, why would I think that he would be successful in Seattle here? And I know that Tyler Lockett in all likelihood is gone, and you're going to have to find other options for that next number 3 receiver. But I don't see Amari Cooper being worth his potential cost of what it would take, especially with Seattle needing to spend money on other things. I don't think Amari Cooper is necessarily the answer you're looking for. I would be very surprised. If I'm in charge, I'm probably saying no on the idea of signing Amari Cooper. Our pinned comment today, should the Hawks sign Amari Cooper? You got 2 options here. You can either type S for sign or P for pass. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know. S for sign, P for pass. Alpersburner writing in. Got the avatar and all. We know Mike Max, he likes older pass rushers. What about DeMarcus Lawrence? He does, and he's had a great level of success with some of these older pass rushers. When you talk about Jadeveon Clowney and Kyle Van Noy and Justin Houston and Jason Pierre-Paul, just to name a few, they all did pretty well in Baltimore with not being paid a lot of money and when most folks had given up on them. And Mike Macdonald found new life with a lot of those guys. But when I look at DeMarcus Lawrence, this is somebody that's had a fantastic career. All right? He's going to have a strong case for the Hall of Fame someday. He has been very, very good. But you can see there's been a decline. He struggled to stay healthy. Only played 7 games in 2021. Only 4 games this past season. He did have 3 sacks in those 4 games. But the production's not what it used to be. Even when he played a full slate in 2023, only had 4 sacks, along with 1 forced fumble and 8 QB hits. I don't think that he is the player that he used to be. And I don't even know if Mike Macdonald could potentially rescue DeMarcus Lawrence out of that. Now, he did play under AD, the Seahawks defensive coordinator, so you do have some familiarity there as far as that goes. But DeMarcus Lawrence, I think if you want to go cheap and you want to go older, you can do better than DeMarcus Lawrence. He's a big name, but I would be surprised if he came to Seattle and if he was productive in Seattle as far as that goes. I'm kind of out on the idea of DeMarcus Lawrence. Should the Seahawks sign DeMarcus Lawrence? Type Y for yes, N for no. Chime in the comments section. Let us know if they should sign DeMarcus Lawrence or not. Seahawks hats are on sale now, 50% off for a limited time. Got the flat bill, got the baseball cap style, all sorts of different hats to choose from. We're showing you a few on your screen right now, and we got more on our website, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Go see for yourself at that link, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. We also have plenty of more Seahawks attire to choose from. It's all in one place, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Juno writes in, do you think that Sam Howell can be better than Geno Smith with a good O-line? No. And in fact, I think there's a decent chance that Sam Howell's not coming back. Sam Howell had his opportunity. That did not go well. And I think that it's pretty much over for Sam Howell. Sam Howell is not a good quarterback in this league. He's a decent backup, but Sam Howell, for me, I've seen enough. Whether it was at Washington or the sample size we got in Seattle when he filled in for Geno, when Geno got hurt, I think it was that Packer game. Sam Howell is not your solution, all right? We've already heard Mike Macdonald say he wants, or not Mike Macdonald, John Schneider say he wants to draft a quarterback. That tells me Sam Howell's not their guy. Sam Howell's not their future. By all means, no. Sam Howell, no thanks. No thank you whatsoever. Shefferton writes in, with our top-tier running back class in the draft, you think they'll trade or cut K9 or just extend him and focus on the O-line? Honestly, I don't think they'll do anything. I think K9 plays on his current contract. And the thing that I've said that what Seattle should do, all right, this isn't kind to K9 or Zach Charbonnet, but this is what I would do. If I'm Clint and Mike in this offense, I'm running those guys to the ground. I would run the wheels off of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet until their contracts are up and get every ounce of them that you possibly can. And then you move on from them. You don't re-sign them. And then you draft younger players to replace them. I don't think this is the draft you find their replacements. I think that'll probably be next year. But that's what I would do if it were up to me. I think that's the best plan of action when it comes to the running back position. I don't care what team it is, whether it's Seattle or if it's Washington or Jacksonville or New England, whoever it may be. That's how you should treat the running back position. You should run your running backs into the ground until they have absolutely nothing left and then replace them with cheaper, younger options with fresher legs. That's what I would recommend Seattle do there. SE writes in, how much would it cost Seattle a year to get Trey Smith or another suitable guard to upgrade our interior? $22 million is the number you're looking for of what it would take to sign Trey Smith. And there was a new report out this week that Kansas City found some money with the salary cap going up. And even though they're not going to franchise tag Trey Smith, they believe there's a decent chance he's coming back to Kansas City. He might not even hit the open market altogether. So I would like Trey Smith. I think he's worth every penny of that $22 million if you were to bring him in. But I would – it's looking less likely that he could be available. And you're going to be in a bidding war potentially with other teams like Chicago and others if you were to sign Trey Smith. But I think there's a decent chance he comes back to Kansas City now. Ardiano writes in, are there any backup QBs in the league who could be interesting for us if any of them get cut this summer? I'm not interested in bringing in another journeyman backup. I think this is, if you're going to bring in another quarterback, this is your chance to go young. Whether it's a Quinn Ewers, a Jackson Dart, a Jalen Milroe, a Dylan Gabriel, Kyle McCord, one of those guys. I think if you're going to bring in a new quarterback, it needs to be a young quarterback that you can potentially set up to take over for Geno Smith. I think that's what you need to do. Don't worry about the backup quarterbacks that are journeymen around the league, the veterans. Go invest in your future there. Steve J. writing in, do you keep Noah Fant if he takes a pay cut? Depends on the pay cut. And if you're him, why would you take a pay cut? I would force Seattle to try to pay me as much as possible if I'm going to stay. That's what I think of that situation. Depends on what the pay cut is. And maybe so. Maybe. But it is very hard to convince these guys that, hey, you can keep your job, but you're going to do it for less money. That's a hard pitch for anyone, especially when you just paid Noah Fant that money last offseason. So if he does, if he's willing to take a pay cut, potentially, but I don't know why he'd be willing to take a pay cut at this point. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, you already know what to do. Subscribe now for free. Turn on your notifications to stay up to date with the latest happenings in your favorite team all offseason long. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. We are just about done. I'm going to put a minute on the clock. If we get a super chat of any amount, we can keep the show live, hang out with y'all, and have a good time. Otherwise, we can sign off and we can call it a day as Alper rejoins me right now. Alper, your second Seahawks Today live experience, how was it?
Besides the quick little mess up, other than that, it was pretty fun. But like I said, the chat, we had one just right before the show started. You got me going. You got me a beer bomb. You got me having Bean Boozled, which it was terrible. But you got the lucky one with Tutti Frutti.
Yeah, I lucked out.
But I like the Seahawks vibe to it. I like the questions that they have.
It's very chill around here.
Being a Patriots fan, it is not chill around Patriots Nation. Everybody is, it's either we're going back to the Super Bowl or the sky is falling. Nowhere in between.
Yeah.
And it's very annoying.
We know how to have a good time. There's no good time like a Seahawks Today party. Because the Seahawks Today party don't stop. You know, we know how to have ourselves.
Never stops. And the party won't stop this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to Austin. Going to watch some NASCAR. We asked earlier if there were some NASCAR fans in the chat. I didn't see anyone respond. Did you see any NASCAR fans?
I saw one person just said Coda and was like, let's go.
Okay.
That's one.
We found one.
If there are any
any NASCAR fans, please reveal yourselves.
Reveal yourself and tell us who do you think is going to win this weekend, if you know anything.
I'm going with Shane Van Gisbergen.
He's the favorite.
He is.
Heavy favorite.
Michael just wrote in NASCAR. Okay.
Drinking NASCAR and watching beer.
Michael says he's a NASCAR fan. Who's your driver, Michael?
There we go, Michael.
We found one. Michael, who's your driver? Who's winning this weekend at Coda? I want to find out from Michael before we go here. We need Michael's official prediction. I'm going with SVG. What's your official pick?
You know, I'm going to go with a long shot here. A long shot. Front row always does good at road courses. And I'm going to go with the long shot that I took in Zane Smith.
Okay.
He's won 2 times at Coda in the Truck Series. He's won 2 times.
Chefferton says I watch F1. NASCAR just goes in circles. That's not true. We're going to a road course this weekend. They're turning left and right.
They're showing the real skills out, and they all can do it.
Michael's picking SVG. Okay.
I mean, that's not a bad pick at all.
SE is more of an F1 fan.
I can't get into F1.
I like F1, but not as much as NASCAR. It feels like the race is over by qualifying.
Yeah.
Whoever wins the pole is going to win the race.
There's no overtaking. There's no battling. It's just the best car wins. It's not the best driver wins. It's the best car.
Dogzilla says they're talking about cars here, not football. We spent an hour and a half talking football. You just now joined us, Dogzilla. You missed out on all the football conversation. We've shifted over to NASCAR. King Zoa says Denny Hamlin's going to win. He's not great on road courses.
Does he have a road course win? I have no idea.
Let's ask Google. Denny Hamlin, road course wins.
He's going to win. I like the pick.
Let's see.
You could always go Kyle Larson. Elliott second. Elliott is.
Denny Hamlin won at Watkins Glen in 2016.
Okay.
That's his only road course win.
Chase Elliott's sneaky good road course driver.
Michael's picking Chase to finish second. Oh, we're not done yet.
We're
Nicholas.
not done.
Nicholas bought a shot for the road. So we'll keep the show live for a minute.
I'll bring that up in 1 second.
I like this. A roadie. You can't go wrong with a good roadie.
No, you can't go wrong. Good old.
One of the things I love about Vegas, you've been to Vegas, right?
I've never been to Vegas.
The gambling man you are, I've never been to Vegas.
I've never been to Vegas.
I'm a little disappointed.
I'm disappointed in myself.
We might have to make a Vegas trip.
Like,
My favorite thing about Vegas, I know everybody loves the gambling and all that. My favorite thing about Vegas might be that they have open container. I think every major city in America needs open container.
it has open container. There's only one city, there's only one time I've ever seen where it was open container. And that was last year when I went to Mardi Gras in St. Louis. It was open container just for that day. And everybody was telling me, oh, it's open container, but just for this day.
Seattle needs open container. Let's bring open container to Seattle. Shot for the road, a roadie here.
Kings Owen, Jimmy Johnson's.
Little Tito's for Austin. There we go. King says Jimmy Johnson. Didn't even spell Jimmy right. But yeah, Jimmy's not racing. I think we'll see him again next Charlotte.
Something like that.
Coke 600. He finished third in the 500. Had a good run. Let's see. King says, I can tell this crew plays at Texas Card House and the Lodge. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know. But nonetheless. All right. Let's see. SC says, I'm going to Vegas in a couple days. Unfortunately, got one more year until I can legally drink. SC, there's ways to work around that in Vegas, but you didn't hear it from me. Bring your wallet, bring some cash, and you can work around that. That's all I got to say. I'm not encouraging the behavior. Just putting that out there. On that note, we will get out of here. Alpert, good job today. Appreciate you guys for being here. More coverage from the Combine coming up throughout the rest of the week. Stay tuned for that. And appreciate you guys being here. For Brett Alpert, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great night. So long, everybody.